Let's start with RedBus. How did that happen? How do you come up with it, and what was that like?
Yeah. So we started RedBus in 2005, Diwali of 2005. So graduated out of BITS, and some 7 of us were staying as bachelors in a flat in Bangalore. All BITSians, working for different companies, and then we used to take buses to go back home. I mean, every alternate weekend. I'm from Hyderabad, and many of my flatmates are Telugu speaking, so either Hyderabad or Vijayawada. We used to go on weekends to home. So every time for 1 odd years, when we went to a travel agent, we could get a ticket, except for that Diwali 2005. So Diwali 2005, when we went to this travel agent to book a ticket, so the modus operandi there is, you go to the agent makes a phone call to the bus operator to find out if he has any seats. And the bus operator has a book of let's say 30 pages. Each page is for 1 day of the month, and he would make like 30-40 boxes in it, like horizontal vertical lines, and each box is a seat. So when somebody calls and says, I want a ticket for 15th, so you'd go to the 15th page and then see if any boxes are not stuck off. If the boxes are not stuck off, then he'll say, okay, seat number 5 is available, and etc. And the agent would get that information, and then he would just strike off and write that agent's name, whoever took that seat. And that guy would write it on a piece of paper and give it to customer, collect money, and then later pass on the money to the bus operator. So that's how the ticketing was happening. So when I went to this agent, he called the bus operator to find out if there are any seats. That guy went to that date, and then there's no seats available. Then he called the second operator, that he also did probably the same, went to that seat, no seats. So, and then he called like 4 or 5 bus operators, none of them had seats. And then this agent told me that maybe there are no seats, maybe that's the end of the thing. Just when I was leaving his office, he told me maybe another agent could get me a seat. I was a little intrigued, because if he's an agent for bus operators, he should know whether or not there is any seat which is going vacant from Bangalore to Hyderabad. Why is he asking me to go to another agent? Because that other agent is his competitor. Nobody pushes a customer from them to another competitor, He's asking him to go to another agent. So I went to this other agent. That agent also made like 4 or 5 phone calls. And he couldn't get a seat. Then I went to the third agent. He also made a few phone calls, couldn't get me a seat. And I ended up being in Bangalore for that long weekend. Now all of my flatmates had gone, so I was alone in the flat. So next day when I woke up, I was a little guilty. Because I knew that there were about 30 bus operators who were running buses from Bangalore to Hyderabad. And even if these 3-4 operators called like mutually exclusive bus operators, they would altogether call about 15 operators. So in the other 15 operators who were not called, if they had a seat vacant, that was a loss to me. Because I didn't go to the right agent who could call the right operator. And it was a loss to these 4 or 5 agents because they didn't call the right operator, because they didn't know who to call. And it was a loss to that bus operator because he would have burned the same amount of fuel, everything same, but gone 1 seat less. Just because he didn't know which corner of the city there was a customer, and we didn't know which corner of the city there was a bus operator who had a seat, and even the agent didn't know. So looking at this, I mean, instant solution that came to my mind is, okay, why can't there be a website on which all the bus operators publish which buses they run and how many seats they have, so that when I go to an agent, that agent just logs onto that web page and sees, okay, which of the 30 operators have a seat, and they just call that operator. And if 30 operators don't have a seat, this agent at least can feel
sure that there are no seats.
At least doesn't send a customer to his competitor, So it helps everybody. It's a win-win-win. Customer wins because he'll at least
gets a seat for sure.
Gets to go home.
Or highest probability of getting a seat.
Or even at least if he doesn't get, he is at least not feeling guilty that okay, he hasn't tried enough, The agents are happy that they're not sending their this thing, Bus operator is happy that okay, he's getting distribution. So it was a win-win-win, and I thought, okay, let's create the solution. So that's how the journey of RedBus started.
Were you always entrepreneurial? Had you started anything before? Because this is a company that was started out of a need in the market for it. A need that you had personally. So is this the first time that you did something like this?
No, I would say, yes. Is this the first time we did a company? Yes. Is this the first time we built software? Yes. Actually, software may not be right. true, because we did the software in bits.
Okay.
So basically, I think is this the first time you created a solution? The answer is no. I think I mean, in my life, and that's probably common with many other entrepreneurs, is that they are of the solution mindset. When you see a problem, they create a solution.
Yeah.
Like in bits, for example, I was a co-ord of Doshi.
Okay.
I was the OSS co-ord of Doshi. So when I became the co-ord, that's the first time we computerized the whole thing.
Okay.
Right? Before that, we would again do it in paper and etc. and all. Then we changed that to computerization, so people would just input the room numbers and etc. I don't know what's the process now, but that's the first time that whole thing changed. So that kind of entrepreneurial thing, right? I mean, thinking something new, better, solutioning and
going
etc.
out and actually following through.
Yeah. So I think that's more an habit. I mean, if you don't, if I didn't do that in my life, maybe I would not have done when I missed the bus.
Right.
Because a lot of times we face many problems, but not every time we think that we want to create a solution for
you went and took your solution and made it into something, a
it
solution
happened.
for hundreds of
Millions.
of thousands, billions of people. Exactly.
Millions of people, and today RedBus is in 6 countries. Wow. And it's number 1 in many of the countries that it is in. It is certainly number 1 in India, Southeast Asia, and also in Peru, LATAM. And it's the world's largest bus ticketing company.